everyone. Welcome to Gray Man Prepping. This is Tactical Tuesday, where we discuss tactics, gear, and more. And tonight's definitely going to be more, because tonight's topic is, as it slowly opens, I'm pulling the curtain as fast as I can. Build your skill bank. What skills do you still need? All right, so I'm in here. I got the Corky.
Sorry. I'm here.
And I did send the link out to a few others. But before we get going, before I even read who's all in the side chat there, a special thanks for inspiring tonight's topic goes out to Rachel Knight, who's in the side chat. She commented on one of the other videos I had and mentioned about, learning more skills and connecting with people in the medical field and stuff. And he is, kind of like, okay, yeah, we all probably need to get more skills, especially more medical skills. I mean, hey, I've been teaching first aid stuff and everything else, and I still need more skills. I am not a doctor. Probably couldn't stand the stress of being a doctor. Alrighty, let's see who all's in here. First one in was Howie at Food Forest Permaculture. Then Where to Begin Homestead. Gear Grinding 19. Garden State Gardener. Hey, Joe. All Things Acres rolled in. Rachel Knight's in here. Oh, Mom Life. Oh, yeah. Rachel's a proud mother this year. Let's see. What else we got here? Corky's talking to everybody. Everyone's talking back and forth. Barry's in the house. Storms, radios, and cats. Denise, Green Granny 2 is here. Vidra is here. And everybody's talking. And then, of course, and the last one just came in was Moon over Miami. All right. Shoot. How to leap into this without leaping into it both feet and making a big mud puddle splash? Yeah. Hi, Kathy D is here. Hey, Kathy. All right. Probably I'm going to jump back to last Monday when I talked a bit about my dad. And his saying was, be a jack of all trades, be a master of most. Okay. So let's slip over here then. And we're going to be using Mr. Peabody's time machine here a little bit as we go through this. But and we're going to start it off with what Rachel said about the medical field, learning, skills and stuff, whether you're going to become a volunteer aide at a hospital, whatever, is, those type of things, become, go ahead and do a second career, become a nurse or whatever, become an EMT, volunteer, being paid, take the courses. Bruce at Backwoods Law said that a lot of departments will pay you to get EMT training so long as you commit to a certain amount of time with the fire department to help out. All right. Well, when I went looking for different skills and stuff, this is what popped up. Several different variants of this. Soft skills. I'm like, huh? So you got public speaking, leadership, conflict management, decision making, time management, stress management, communications, and interpersonal skills. And I say, yeah, those are very important in today's age. And even some of those will be important if the balloon goes up and we're into a SHTF or TWACI situation. However, there's only one on there I can see that can make you money, and that's a communication skill if you can become a good barterer through communications. But with the skills that, I think, we need to be talking about are more hands-on, blue-collar skills that'll still work after the grid goes down. Something happens where you're not able to access the internet or anything else like that. And of course, most people are going to think, construction, blue collar. Well, yeah, a little bit. That is one small part of it. Gardening. Hey, if you can grow a garden, you can grow lots of food. Guess what? You can get a lot of people to work for you for food if you have land and you need help, working the land. Another skill, taking all that food and storing it so it lasts. Now, I've been water bathing since the time I was 7, helping my grandmother make jam and stuff. I have yet to cross that border, that abyss that scares the living daylights out of me, who used to be a federal agent, and do pressure canning. Okay, I'm a wimp when it comes to that, all right? Give me a couple bad guys with guns and I'll face them down, no problem. This scares me.
I'm not afraid of the pressure canning itself. It's the prep. The prep that it takes. Am I doing it right? Do I have enough headspace?
Yeah.
Do I have, that's the part that freaks me out. The pressure canning thing is easy. Do you have the right tools necessary to do the job before you pressure can it?
Yeah. And that's the thing is I just need to get off my butt this winter and start out with pressure canning some saline water, like Tammy said to do. And once I have the saline water pressure can, I put that away. Now I can start on the hamburger. Then I can do chili, and then I can just do some regular soup bases and do that stuff. But so that's something I got to do. Hey, Tibor, how's it going? And so if you have the skill to pressure can, and you can do it the old school way before pressure canners were around and water bath, that's fabulous. Speaking of which, I'm going to deviate here just a little bit. If those of you who are on Facebook have not gone to Rebel Canners group, join it. You'll get a lot of information. But more importantly, what I just found out today, just the first time I've been a member for a while. I actually went to from Rebel Canners. I clicked on Tammy's name and it took me to the what do you call it? I guess the base page, the head page, where most people don't see.
Yeah.
And she talks about an interesting story about her mother-in-law before Tammy's husband had been born, and they were ministers and stuff and doing stuff, and someone gave them half a moose. She had no freezer.
Yeah. So
did not have a pressure cooker.
Ooh.
7 quarts at a time. She canned that moose in water bath.
Yeah. I mean, you can do water bath. It's just a pain in the butt.
It's just a long time.
Sometimes quicker.
It takes 3.5 hours to do it. And you got to keep an eye on it to make sure you keep adding boiling water to it so it stays a certain distance above the lids.
Right.
All right. We got Annalie Brown here. Another pirate refugee like me from Corsair Trainers. And we have Grace Hill Granny's here. All right. So let's move on. Okay, so we talked about pressure canning being a skill. Baking.
I think Ace Hardware tests them. Like you can get it tested at Ace Hardware.
Cool. Yeah. Let me throw that at you. So yeah. So baking. Now, I threw this one up in to get everybody's attention, but the type of baking I'm talking about is, baking bread and baking this stuff people are going to use all the time. Not the goodies you're going to have once in a while, but, the stuff you need all the time. And along with baking bread comes another variant of it where you don't actually do the baking, where you're making the pasta. And Anthony Pimetto Prepared has shown making pasta several times. All right, so that's another skill to look into to learn. Oh, we're in the Wayback Machine. Now, I was hoping Bob was going to be in here for part of this. Looking at this machine lathe, interesting thing about it is it's not electric.
Yeah.
You see that belt in the middle of the screen here? The belt's going up and down here?
Mm-hmm.
It's either water powered or steam powered. And I'm going to touch on several of these. I'm going to point out why I'm touching on these after I get through with a couple of these skills.
I think it's water powered. If you look closely at the picture, there's water coming from the machine at the bottom.
That's oil.
Oh, it's oil. Oh, okay.
That's cutting oil.
Oh, okay.
See, like a big one like this. You see this big old shaft here, right by the windows up above. That goes outside either to a water wheel or, if it's in the city, to a steam plant.
That's why I was never ever interested in learning how to cut pipe, because you always had to, like, there was always oil involved, and like my hands would be like disgusting. I'm like, no, I think I'll just lay off of this. I'll just stick to the wood.
And there he is. Hey, Bob, you have the link in your email. And so you look at something like this. This is back, pre 1800s, back, it's, this is the beginning of the Industrial Revolution.
That's really cool. I like pictures like that. It's cool.
A lathe. Okay, a lathe, there are two types of lathes. There's a wood lathe where you turn wooden posts into, makes things. And the same thing with these here. You put a piece of metal in there and you turn the metal to make screws, bolts, machine parts, camshafts, stuff like that.
A wooden lathe, would that, like, without electricity, would that be pumped by your foot?
They do have treadle lathes. They have had treadle lathes for a long time. There was an old show on PBS. I may still be around. The Woodwright Shop, and he uses a treadle lathe to turn some of the stuff on the
By the way, that guy is completely inspiring. Like, I've watched him a couple of times in making stuff, and it always makes me want to make something.
Oh yeah, I mean, him and Norm Abrams are just making me want to just
I just suck
buy more woodworking tools.
Yeah.
Now, all right, and now we're getting to more modern electric ones, lathes. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. The reason why I was mentioning about those in the turn of the century is, you think back to the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, how quick we advanced once we had the lathe. The metal lathe changed everything.
I just think the wooden ones, not to distract you from that, but I'm just saying the wooden ones are so cool. You can do so many cool things. And like women, like if you get into it, like you can make candlestick holders, you can do all different kinds of cool stuff on a wooden lathe. That's just unique. Yeah. It's
salad bowls,
salad
dinner bowls, dinner plates, wooden dinner plates.
Cool things. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen somebody make candlestick holders on a lathe before, and they turned out beautiful. They were like rustic looking, and it was like perfect.
And right now, if you have that skill right now and you start making that stuff, you got a great side job, or what do you call it? There's a phrase they've been doing. I can't think of, sorry, old man brain fart here. Side hustle.
Yeah. Okay. It's just cool. I like all this kind of stuff. I love woodworking.
Now, I bet that Bob here would have a field day in here like I would.
Hey, Bob, did you ever work in a place like that?
No, I'm
just giving you a hard time.
No. I'm old, damn it, you young kid, but not that old.
Yeah.
I don't like you anymore. You're off my Christmas list, by the way.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Something like this, though, is when I was in high school, someone had donated an old drill press that had a 3-phase motor on it, but it had belts that went up to the upper part, and it had four different belt ratios that you could change it to change your gears on it. I got that thing working and stuff, and then we moved, and it's like, here you go, Mr. Cram, it's back to you again. I gave it right back to the metal shop. Someone donated it to me. I fixed it. Someone donated to him. He had no time to fix it. Gave it to me. I fixed it. Turned it back over to him. And so I'm hope they're still using that thing there in the metal shop. That was a fantastic. I mean, that thing was ancient, and we fixed it up good. So if someone can figure out a way to work a lathe.
Anna, I'm not
without
that
power.
I'm not. Yeah. If you can sew, if you have like just knowledge in sewing, you can be a woodworker. Because think about it, sewing is almost the same thing. It's just you're working with wood, and you have measurements and patterns and everything like that. So if you can sew, you're just going to work with a little heavier machinery, not a sewing machine.
And not only that, there's leather working, shoemaking.
Yeah, all that stuff is
combined.
If you can sew a little bit, you said you can cross stitch. If you can sew just a little bit, you can do that stuff. It just requires measuring. You have to learn. You have to measure correctly. Otherwise, you're going to get a lopsided doghouse.
Yeah, that is a real fundamental skill, is measuring, learning how to calculate, add your fractions together, convert them into decimals, and that's your fundamental, is measuring.
And like Tibor says, for guys, you talk about sewing or woodworking. It's like, I'm afraid of sewing. I'm going to woodwork.
I love to sew. Okay. And the first thing I wanted to do right off the bat is sew Victorian gowns, because that is what I'm into. I love it. So right off the bat, I wanted to learn how to do that. Everybody thought I was insane because I never really sewed anything but like a purse before, nothing major. But I've made Victorian jacket and outfit and stuff to take to Renaissance fairs and all that kind of stuff. So cool. It's fun. And if you have the passion for it, you can do it. So don't let anybody deter you.
My wife, when we first got married, surprised the heck out of me about 6 months after I asked her to marry me. And she said she was going to alter her mother's wedding gown to fit her.
Oh, cool.
I'm like,
now that takes I would be scared to do that, because I'd be scared that I'd screw it up. Yeah.
And she was a hottie at our wedding. Anyways, hey, the captain's in the house. It's Corsair Trainers. And there's a man there who has varying skills from being an active duty Marine to being a corrections officer, and now he teaches firearm safety and training and to people. He has a bunch of different skill sets there, and he's gardening too. He is doing some great stuff in his backyard garden wise. Hey Keith, got Keith Cronk here, and we have Social Dilemma in the house. And I know I posted her name up there a couple times. LG, I forgot to say hi, LG. Oh, and thank you, LG. LG has been commenting on a lot of my videos. She's been going and watching my old videos.
LG's awesome. Thank you
for being a part of our community. Yeah. All right. Here's one. Oh, Bob just walked away. A welder. Modern welders need some sort of gasoline engine, right? Some of them, the way some of the back of trucks. Well, a lot of those engines can be run off of from a just lost the word. The wood crap. When you take the wood, you turn it to get the vapor off the wood, and you run the engine. And there's that way. If you have a good windmill, you can off the gears, you can run a welder off it. And there's going to be times in the future where if the grid's down, if you can figure out a way to make your welder work, you're going to be king of the hill because you have a working welder, and people are just going to be absolutely nuts to get stuff fixed.
Yeah. I've always wanted to learn how to weld. That's one thing I've never.
There we go. Tibor got it. Gasifier. Yes. And I got all sorts of plans for gasifiers I got from the FEMA archive website. So welding is a skill that you can learn, and make sure you figure out a way to create a welder without powder. power. And then, of course, the original welder, blacksmiths. So much was made by blacksmiths. So much is baked from the blacksmiths triggered the Industrial Revolution. They made the parts for the first machines to make the first lathes.
Yeah.
Them and woodwrights. The woodwright would carve it. The blacksmith would turn it into steel. Two skills that actually fueled our country. And so there's and things if you check around your area, you'd be surprised you can find some of these anvils, good quality anvils, dirt cheap in junkyards sometimes, or in old barns or whatever else out there. And then a farrier. Everyone thinks that it's the blacksmith that shoes the horse. No, it's not a blacksmith. It's a farrier that shoes the horse. Blacksmith makes the horse shoes, and the farrier sizes them to the horses.
Yeah.
And ladies, don't feel left out. Hey, here she is during World War II. Rosie the Riveter, just doing the job, getting things done. And so there is not one of these skills that I've mentioned that is gender specific. Hey, Kaylin, how's it going?
The World War II changed a lot of things for women.
Oh, yeah. And Idaho Garden Girl's in the house. Well,
hello.
Yeah. Yeah, Barry. I wasn't going to say it, but yeah, this one here's a hottie too. She's somebody's grandma now. All right. Veterinarians, getting back medical field, other skills to take care of you, because if you're raising goats, pigs, sheep, cow, chickens, whatever you're raising, having veterinary skills, can save you and other people a lot of anguish and energy by being able to cure the animals and stuff. Something I did.
They taste good.
Heavy equipment.
Yeah. Something I did for a while was run heavy equipment, and I've operated every piece on here plus a few others.
I loved being a forklift driver. That was my favorite.
Yeah.
I loved doing that.
Yeah. And don't let anybody tell you, oh, it's easy. You just get on a piece of equipment and do it. No. Anyone that says that, I challenge them to get in that one in the bottom left next to Bob there. That is an excavator. You get a pile of rock, you put a raw egg on top of that pile of rock. Then I want you to take that bucket, pick that egg up out of that pile, swing 90 degrees, and hand it to somebody.
It's not easy being a forklift driver either.
Oh, no.
16-foot boards and a bunk that's 30 foot in the air, and taking that down, don't drop it.
Yeah, but steering, it up. Yeah, rear steering, totally different than a car. It changes really quick.
Yeah. Scary.
Oh, yeah. Now, besides the guys that operate this, you need somebody to fix it.
I've done that.
These, you've worked on aircraft and everything else, and big engines and stuff.
I worked on heavy equipment before I worked on airplanes.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. All right, that's another skill Bob has. So, guys, if you want a good heavy equipment mechanic and aircraft mechanic, you're going to have to go to the Philippines here in a couple of years.
I was going to say, when SHTF happens, Bob will just be in the Philippines, so he won't be around.
Yeah. And I tell you something, the ones that work on these engines and stuff and the hydraulic pump systems and everything else, I was a grease monkey. All right. I ran the fuel truck and grease, and I took care of it. I helped the mechanics work on some of the stuff. And it was like, what do you want me to do? Hold that. Okay. I do this. All right. Now what, I learned so much from them being an assistant out there in the middle of a field with a broken down excavator or paddle scraper or dozer. Yeah. The guys that do this stuff have way more smarts than I have. And then there's your truck mechanics. One of my very good friends who taught me how to go deer hunting and stuff, Gary Teixeira. was a truck mechanic, and what being a young guy though, he just came out of a 8-year apprenticeship program, and came into the company I was working for at the time, and it's just like I was amazed at what he knew, and so were some of the regular diesel the regular heavy equipment mechanics, because they said, "Oh, this thing we need to get a new engine for it." And the next day he had it running.
Yeah.
He worked all night, had it run the next day, and they're all like, "Huh?"
Yeah, you're right, Tibor. Like, you don't want any hiccups in your.
Yeah, the hydraulics have got to be good.
If you have a hiccup, you could drop something, or
no air bubbles in the line. Yeah. And when I first got into construction, some of the excavators and stuff the companies I worked for had direct hydraulics.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, it's hydraulics over hydraulics.
Huh?
Yeah. So basically, your stick has hydraulics that controls a bigger lever valve to do everything. Whereas the other ones, you move that thing. You're moving the actual valve that flowed the hydraulic to the buckets and stuff.
Well, nowadays it's electrically controlled, hydraulically operated. Yeah, they're more or less like fly-by-wire. More or less, it's all controlled by switches, limit switches, and
yeah. But if you go over and you watch Hank at something or other, I just lost it. Hamiltonville Farm. He constantly is going out and salvaging equipment down there in Florida. It's been left in the abandoned out there in the swamp type area, and he's getting it running and brings it back in, and all that stuff is old stuff. You talk about operate by wire, and they're like, "What's that?" And we got Patty and Mac here, Southern Blessed Homestead.
Hey, Mac.
All right, let's see. I think I'm about right. Oh no, okay. And then another skill which is really going to be in demand. Anyone want to guess what skill this one is?
Carburetor. Yeah, I was going to say that looks like a carburetor.
Carburetor, but small engines.
Mm-hmm.
Generators,
lawnmowers,
chainsaws.
Chainsaws.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Although during an SHTF, who's going to really mow their lawn?
No,
not too much. But chainsaws, people are going to be needing firewood, and unless you know a blacksmith that can make you one of those big old bucking saws, two people bucking saws where you take down a tree. Chainsaws are going to be king until they run out of fuel, and then people are going to be figuring out how to make fuel for chainsaws from alcohol and other stuff.
Kathy, you're right. I know this sounds like really odd, but during an SHTF situation, people just getting their hair cut changes morale.
Yeah.
So
it's Vanessa Kitty.
Your skills are needed, Kathy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, staying groomed is part of mental health. It really is.
Kaylin, I just picked up my first battery-powered 12-inch chainsaw, a Ryobi. And this spring, I'm going to be using the heck out of it. Okay, I'm going to veer off this. I'll go back here. So talking about, the hair cutting, the pedicures, manicures, stuff like that. Those are easy to expand those skills to go into a few other nursing skills, first aid type skills and stuff as well. Because you're already, dealing delicate stuff with people's fingernails and stuff. You're not trying not to make them bleed. So yeah, you have a way, you're already partially into it, whether you know it or not. And if you add some more skills to that skill as a base skill, it's easier to expand your skills on, that way. Build on what you know. If it's expandable, expand it.
Will there be ledge dancers during the SHTF?
It depends on what kind of commune you have going on there, Bob.
Okay. Mine, they're going to have ledge dancers.
We'll have a special tent for you, Bob.
Wrong. Where'd it go? There it is. One above it.
You mean a rubber room?
The chat just started moving here. Yeah, if you wear full face gas mask, you may need to shave. However, if you can get hold of the Israeli or the Indian, Pakistani gas masks and stuff, they're made for guys that don't shave. All right. I think. Okay. A couple more skills here.
Caitlin.
All right. So here's other skills. Plumbing. Just because things have gone down, a lot of stuff has gone down, doesn't mean that your toilets and stuff are going to instantly stop. So people may still have a downhill place pipes for sewage to flow to. They just need to fix the stuff that's in their house.
Yeah, being able to repair things.
Even if they're carrying the water in by bucket to fill up the back tank, that's what they're going to need. And then another thing is getting back to the Woodwrights. If a person can make this, they can build a house. If you can do this type of woodworking on a wood lathe and then do the mortise and tendon joints and build this, you can build a house. Replaced 2 toilets a month ago. Good for you, Vanessa. I know my wife, while I was up here, I had to replace one of the beeswax gaskets under the toilet in one of the boys' room down there in California. She made him clean everything first before she'd go in and touch it. And I think that's the last skill that I'm not getting to these other ones here. So some other things to think about. All right, these are I just asked for blue collar skills, and I got these next 2 slides that popped up. Warehousing. Well, you could consider warehousing a necessity in a SHT situation, especially if it's gone into Tawaki, where it's like, okay, where do we go looking for things? The warehouseman goes, I know where that stuff's stored. Knowledge.
No, if you have like a compound started, they may be the person that can organize
quartermaster
food or organize or
Yep.
Could
Logistics.
Mining, excavating, electricity generation. If you know how to make a water wheel generator, boom. Power plant operations, same thing. Farming, commercial style fishing for if you got like a commune and you got a lot of people to get food for, and either you're near the ocean or you're near a big river. Being able to provide food, logging, food processing, oil field work. Because hey, even though everything crashes, the first oil wells weren't powered by the big equipment we have today. They were simply based on like a windmill pump to pump the oil out.
You mean Jed Clampett didn't say move away from there?
Yeah,
they moved to Hollywood.
Yeah. Okay. The other ones on the bottom here, not too much for SHTF situation, but if you have those skills, how can you turn those skills into a survival skill? The ones down here, I know recycling, you recycle a lot of stuff. You know about recycling stuff. You know what you can use and stuff, and what Bob's doing right now.
Yeah, I'm making these into rags right now.
Yeah.
Reloading would be a real skill if you could get the components.
Yeah.
If you can get the primers and things like that.
Yeah. Or even knowing how to make them, having some of a chemical mind and a metal worker to be like a silversmith to make the primers. Mm-hmm. All right, construction, custodial work, food processing, machine repair, well, field worker, mining, going through some of these again, manufacturing, whether it's manufacturing metal parts, wooden parts, clothing, so textiles. There's textile manufacturing down here. Maintenance, sanitation, technical installation, warehousing, waste disposal, textile manufacturing. That's a whole field, starting from weaving the thread from the wool or from the cotton or from whatever to make weave, to make the cloth. The people take that cloth in to make the clothing. There's a lot of different skills involved in putting clothes on.
I mean, I can do sewing. It's been years now since I've done it. During an SHTF, I probably could sew some pants and do that kind of stuff. I can't guarantee that your pant leg won't be smaller than the other, though. You know what I'm saying?
Well, even having somebody who has the patience and the skills to make a sewing needle and knowing what kind of steel to use, that would be just a simple little things like that. Well, everything's all burned out and we've got to make it ourselves. So that would be someone very useful to have.
Yeah.
Who's got the patience.
Yeah. One of the pictures I didn't put in here, which I pulled out, but I left it out, was dealing with blacksmiths. Showed a blacksmith making nails.
Yeah, that's how they started, Gil. My great grandfather was a blacksmith somewhere in the Midwest. That was their primary jobs, getting rod steel from Pennsylvania steel mills and making them into nails and hinges. And they were basically a hardware store is what they were before there were hardware stores. Yeah.
Yep. And, and the thing is, original nails were square. Mm-hmm. That's why horseshoe nails still are square or rectangular. And, someone came up with a way to take a mold stamp. So they got the steel down to the right size, and then had the mold stamp, to make the round nails.
Yeah, someone also who knows how to use taps and dies to make screws and bolts and nuts. But that there's a lot of that stuff around the planet, so it would be into generations after everything fails too, where that would be needed.
Yeah, hopefully, some of these skills I'm thinking about here is as we're down on that downward slide, to put on the brakes and take a shortcut back to recovery. You get the right equipment running again, you can do things.
Hey, where to begin?
Yeah, well, there's other things to think about too. There's like salvage. Okay, say, salvaging an old hinge. Do any of you know how to very easily remove rust?
Mm-hmm.
Vinegar.
Do it?
With vinegar?
Apple cider vinegar. Soak it in there. Take it out and neutralize it.
You can get
another thing that does it too. As soon as you have most of the rust off of it, you can create a tank with caustic soda in it, and create some sort of electrical charge. If it's a kid on a bicycle pedaling, and you put a piece of what's called sacrificial steel in there, and the piece you want to restore, and it'll take the steel and iron molecules from the one and coat the other. It's almost like it's sort of like the chrome plating process or copper plating process, where you plate stuff that way. And a lot of people don't know about that. Mm-hmm. But that's something that there are people around today that do for the International Dutch Oven Society has classes on it for restoring old Dutch ovens.
No,
this is my goal. Like eventually I want an old wood burning stove, like cooking stove. So bad. Yeah. I want one so bad.
There is a couple companies out that make replicas.
Yeah, Layman's has them too.
Yeah, same quality. I mean, there's one company. You're paying for it, and it is same thickness of steel and stuff.
I'd like to get a used one from Facebook or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But one of the old farms being torn down, you go out there. We got this. I'll remove it for you.
I'll take that, dude. This is totally off subject. I was so jealous today. I'm into like weird shit. So there was this really old bee's nest. Mm-hmm. Somebody was selling because they taxiderm them, Mm-hmm. And somebody was selling it on Facebook, and it was like they wanted some. I didn't know what they wanted it for, and I said, "How much would you want for that? Because I would love to have that." They're like $50. I'm like, oh. I could have got a really cool old bee's nest for $50.
What would you do with the bee's nest?
I
mean, for
I would
honey
hang it
or
up in my house. It's decoration.
like a hornet's nest?
Yeah, it was a hornet's nest. It's taxidermy. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Usually, a lot of people they put them on a branch, and then they hang them up in the corner of their house or
side job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, which one is it? Ridge Life channel here. He does one thing, but he also does bee stuff on this as well.
Taxidermy is something that's really going out.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't do that anymore. And usually that people that do taxidermy do leather work.
The tanning
the hide and stuff, which I didn't know up until recently. I didn't know that they use the brains to tan hide.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that?
The acid in the brains, and you know what they also use? Piss.
Oh, pee?
The acid in your pee and stuff. There's an old saying, he's so poor he doesn't have a pot to piss in.
Mm.
They didn't have a pot to take the pee to sell it or to trade it to the tanner.
Yeah. Yeah, the old Celts used to do that for tanning, for setting their dye when they would make their kilts and stuff, and they would soak it in pee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I just hope none of this ever happens.
Me either. I don't want to play
having skills is exactly. But having skills to do some of this stuff is really cool. I mean, I'm quote retired now. If I knew how to tan leather and stuff, oh man, I could of all the cattle around here that are getting butchered, I could be collecting leather and tanning it and reselling it. And but trying to find someone who'll teach around here that'll teach me is no, you got to apprentice with us for a while first, type thing. There's
a show, Vanessa Kitty, I've been watching. I love watching on the bushcraft shows. So there's a show I've been watching. I cannot remember the name, but this old guy, he lives in Alaska. He's never going to leave his home. He lives with his wife. Or is it in Montana? I think it's Montana. Anyway, he tans hide and stuff. Him and his wife both do it. And he's also a taxidermist. And he does all the old school ways of stuff. And one of them, because I guess a lot of people don't use the brains anymore. It's not a heard of thing anymore. So he uses that to tan hides. And I guess it's a big thing, to get a piece from him because he does it old school.
Right.
So I just think it's kind of cool. Although it's creepy. I don't think I'd want to touch the brain.
Yeah. I'll touch it. I just think I am not Uncle Al. I am not going to eat it.
No.
Tripe is not my deal.
Yes, I think so, Tibor. It splits off into 3 different people. There's one guy who lives in North Carolina too. He lives by himself.
Yeah.
And he lives out in the woods. It splits off into 3 different stories. But this guy is I just adore him. He's 80 and he goes out there and he does this stuff. He's so freaking cool. He's
nice.
He looks like a mountain man, So freaking awesome.
Yeah. LG, very few of them do. I've watched some shows and videos and stuff of people that making saddles and stuff. Generally, they buy the leather because they don't have the time to do the tanning. They're booked up solid making quality saddles, custom saddles, and they're some of them. They do all the woodwork underneath it and everything else themselves, and do the leather work and everything else. They just buy the leather. Hey, brother Donnie's in the house.
Hello.
And so there's there are a lot of these skills we've talked about, like the tanning, leather working, woodworking, lathe work. You can do right now as a hobby.
Looming. That's one of the things that I hope one day I can get into the mountains of Mindanao and learn how they make their own traditional clothing. Most of the clothes they wear every day are secondhand that we donate, but they make their traditional clothing with looms.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Isn't it though? Yeah, I think I sent Gil a video of the Tiboli tribe up in the mountains of Mindanao, where they make their own. I think they make their own thread, maybe not, but they definitely make their own traditional patterns of their clothing. They do that for tourism, which is a job to bring in revenue into their villages. That's some of the stuff that you can still learn out there, but you got to be able to go. Got to be able. I really hope I can see that one day. I saw it from a distance, a lady on the island of Samal, but I wasn't able to get up close and film.
That's really cool. I like that.
There's a lot of these skills we're talking about here, you can turn into a money-making side hustle.
Sure. And especially if you know how to tan leather, you can just sell leather. You know? Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And you have a supply of hides.
I admire anybody who can do like taxidermy or anything like that, because that's really, you're taking apart something that's gross. It's gross to me. You know what I mean? You're turning it into something that's amazing. Mm-hmm. And so I really admire somebody that can get in there and do that.
Mm-hmm.
I knew we see odd things all the time, but somebody literally would taxidermy mice and rats and put them into scenery.
That's tiny. Oh man, that is tiny.
Like have them sitting on a couch or something, like a little doll couch. Like you get like little scenery.
Yeah. Courtney, that email I sent you about FiberCom and what happened, it just came in. Thank you to all those involved in the repair of the fiber lines. Everything is back and fully operational. So yesterday afternoon, about 4:00, the two main fiber optic lines running out of Boise towards the east side of the state somehow got severed at the same time.
That's weird.
Yeah. So I'm thinking either it was someone was a construction worker or someone took out the pole.
Yeah.
Somewhere. And they were, so they had them up, airborne. Anyways, so they've been working on it constantly since then. Last night they had to pull the crews off because the rainstorm over there got so bad they couldn't work for a couple hours. But they just finally, so my internet should start clearing up now. Man, it was bad last night. I couldn't, it's like I'm trying to watch Courtney's live stream last night. She would say about 3 or 4 words, and then the circle of death would go for
my internet was acting really weird though too. Melon completely kicked me out and asked me for like a verification code. I mean, it was just weird, and it did it right in the middle of my live stream.
Yeah. Well, see, I tried to bring up Facebook so I could find the Melon link, and Facebook would not open up. Yeah. And then, of course, tonight when I was setting this up tonight, Facebook is screwed up again tonight because.
Did you notice though that they redid Facebook? So they're like working on it or doing updates or something, because my picture is different. It's round and it's to the left.
I didn't look at that.
Yeah. So they're doing some kind of updates or something. So it could have been that too.
Yeah. So, since we're on Gray Man Prepping, I got a couple things to say about Gray Man Prepping here for everybody that's still in here. Right now for the 1,000 subscriber giveaway challenge going on, Garden State Gardener is in first place. Courtney and Tammy are tied for second.
Wait, I am?
Yes.
Okay.
Someone came in and said, White Family Farm sent me over.
Nice.
So you and Tammy are tied for second, and there is no any other places yet. So, hey, all those gift cards are wide open, folks. Check out the 1,000 subscriber giveaway over on my videos there. But also along that same line, I'm now, when I started this, I needed 200 subscribers to hit 1,000. Now I only need 140. So thank you for those that have been sharing out. Those that have been sharing out and people have been joining, get on them about, hey, you're supposed to be putting my name in there, setting you over. So if you're having people, sharing out, telling people to come over, tell them to remember, say that you sent them, so you get into the giveaway here. All right.
Hey, Carpenter Self-Reliance. What's up?
Hey. Yeah. Oh, and just for my other channel, Camp Patton Family Compound, I now have 29 channel members. So, woo!
Nice.
Thank you, Joe and Gear, for giving out those free one-month memberships, because several people have re-upped on their own once they had those memberships.
Awesome.
That was a way for them. They couldn't figure out how to get in either on their phone or whatever, and now they are able to do it. Ooh. Thank you, Idle Garden Girl. Remember to put a note in there, a thing, and say, hey, say I sent you over. And, if someone wants to know, you want to do it just a quick 2-minute video, 1-minute video, whatever, and say, hey, when you go over there, remember, tell them that I sent you over there. All righty, let's get back to skills here and stuff. Sorry, I want to change something here. There's something else I wanted to talk to everybody about. Oh, yeah, the earthquake. Northern California had a 5.1 earthquake in San Jose city limits. Silicon Valley, 5.1. It was felt as far away as Bakersfield and as far north as Yuba City and as far east as Reno. My wife, who's just 60 minutes driving time in the San Francisco Bay Area away from there, I texted her, how bad was it? She goes, what earthquake? Native Californians, 5 point what? Ain't nothing. Now I'm trapped by the baby dumpling. Anyway, so if you hear anything out of California, there was an earthquake this just before noon today, or just afternoon. Time zone differences here. Just before noon. 5.0. Then they upgraded it 20 minutes later to a 5.1. But all righty. We're getting close to the end of the hour here. In side chat, did you guys see anything from the side chat about other jobs, skills, and stuff to learn? I
don't know, just the basic ones. If you're skilled at just basic jobs,
I've observed overseas, like a job. It is a job as a knife sharpener. A fellow who rides around on a bicycle, and he's got a belt that he can take off of the bicycle and put it up onto a grinder on the handlebars, and he pedals it, and he got a grindstone, and he rides around, shouts out knife sharpen, or something like that. Yeah, and that's how he makes a living. And he's got some grindstones with him, some lapping stones. I've learned so much going outside of the country. There's people who still live in far different ways than we do.
Thanks for the heads up, Carpenter Self-Reliance. I've been hearing about that too. And Kathy's right, a locksmith.
Yep. There's even simple things like called point. These ladies will set up a kitchen in their own kitchen, and they'll make a large tray of noodles, chicken, vegetables, and you select, it translate to point, and then she'll serve you up a plate of that type of food. That's how some people make a living, doing just that. Yeah. Just cooking and put it outside your house for sale,
Yeah. Now I see what people are saying about most grindstones are too coarse for sharpening a knife, but I've seen some of the cloth things that Bob has there, and you put your what's it called? You put that stuff you put on there on your wheels to polish the metal and stuff.
Like a buffing wheel, muslin buffing wheel. But I've over in my cabinet over there, I've got about 6 different grades of stone of 8-inch grindstones, all the way to 150 grit, all the way up to 60 to 150 grit. You have to look at, if you want to buy very fine grindstones, you have to look at like McMaster Carr. That's a machining.
Yeah, I know
machine
McMaster Carr.
shop. And there's other places out there, but there's also white wheels. I've got several of those. Those are made for your exotic metals like stainless steel. They really kick out a lot of dust, but they make a very fine cut on whatever you're grinding. There's a real science to grindstones, but most of my sharpening I do with one of these right here. I sharpen my scissors. I sharpen my draw knife. My just one of these right there. Yeah. I don't use oil. I use water, and then between sharpening, you put more water on it and use a piece of Scotch-Brite and lightly brush the metal out of the stone and start all over again. I tried using oil, but it's just too messy. I like water.
Yeah. My dad had a set of stones.
Lubricated, Bob.
What's up?
Yeah.
It said as long as it's lubricated.
Yeah. You can wash the steel particles away. Yeah. And to get fewer complaints that way.
In the United States, most people talk about using Arkansas stones for sharpening knives and stuff.
Yeah.
My dad had ordered some stones from Japan back before I was born, and they were expensive then. Those are ones you do not let a drop of oil touch. You will ruin them.
An Arkansas stone is really made for coarse cutting because it's different flakes of stone in it. I had a couple small ones. They're still here somewhere. But an India stone made, I trust this company right here, Norton. They've moved their operations to Mexico, but the quality of their products is still just as good as it was here in the U.S. That's the only grind wheels that I buy, and stones, Norton brand. I tried Arkansas, but those Arkansas stones are good for like a garden hoe or shovel, something that you really need to knock it down.
You're so aggressive with your hoe.
I tell you, well, I got to get that money, honey. I need some new clothes. I got to look good.
All right. We got so Kathy, the movie The Purge. But when I think of more along the lines of like Day After Tomorrow, where a natural event kind of screws everybody over. And there are numerous ways everything can go south.
What's this? Ooh, that's fancy. Oh, well, did you see is Steve from Corsair's Trainer still in here?
He's still here.
Okay, I saw his video he put out today, and very realistic.
Crap! I didn't get notification on it.
Oh yeah. Very realistic is after civil unrest. I think that's one of the more common ones that we're going to have to deal with. And the 2 years ago, Summer of Love, when this whole area was on fire and the news didn't report jack, those are things that you were going to see more and more and more. Yeah, I'm gonna kiss your ass, Steve. So.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Coming up here, tomorrow's Wednesday. So on Hedgehog's Homestead at 2:00 Eastern, I'm the guest being interviewed tomorrow on Laura's Hedgehog's Homestead show. Then she has another live tomorrow evening. Thursday, anybody doing anything during the daytime? Any lives during the daytime? If not, I have the Midnight Ride. Starts at 11:55 Eastern time. And we go 1, 2, 3. We've gone 4.5 hours on it before because people just chattering in the box and on the side chat and on the screen here. Friday, 12 o'clock your time, right, Courtney? Friday
at 12 o'clock p.m. Yeah, Eastern Standard.
Yeah, noon Eastern Standard Time. East. It's still daylight savings. Sorry, hate to break it to you. It's still daylight savings. It should be standard already. It used to be when I was growing up. It had already changed because our haunted house was looking forward to the change. Anyways, and then at 10 o'clock Eastern on Friday, I brought back Friday Night on Homestead.
Steve, you're the smartest. Bob, you're the smartest and the prettiest. Oh, thank you. I always knew it.
I just heard a crash. I gotta go.
Okay.
Fred's not doing something he shouldn't be doing.
He's into something.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Courtney.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Larry.
Tonight, prior to this live, I was over on Southern Blessed Homestead, and they went to look at the river, and they saw nothing moving. Yeah, it's water levels in the Mississippi are insanely low. And so we need snow and rain at the headwaters and the contributaries to the rivers, there. All right. Friday froze. Friday, I have Friday Night on the Homestead at 10 o'clock. Saturday, I can't remember who's going on Saturday. Sunday will be Courtney again. Next week for me, though, bring it up here. So, that just came on over there.
That reminds me. I think that'll set my mind in motion to next time we go over to the Philippines. I'll start filming some of those little side jobs that people do.
Yeah. That'd be a great thing to share so we can learn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Monday, Halloween. So I will not be here. However, I have a guest coming in to run the show for me for the Fireside Chat. It is the indelible Dr. Jekyll will be here for Halloween. Tactical Tuesday, All Saints Day. That would coming Tuesday. Next week, my mother's 100th birthday. It would have been her 100th birthday. So another trip down memory lane on Tuesday. So that's what I have here. And, of course, on any of the live streams, you can always find Bob here making a guest appearance. Yep. And, that's right. Poopaween starts at 9:30 Eastern on Courtney's channel. There are 3 people who are going to be carving the pumpkins. Laura, Hedgehog Homestead, North South Homestead, and Al Chaff are the 3 that are going to be carving pumpkins there. And if last year's winner, Chris at Cosmic Cultivators, is stuck at work and can't make it, he's trying to schedule his time around to be a judge, then Mr. Hyde will stay. If he can't make it, Mr. Hyde is a standby for the second judge, along with Garden State Gardener and Courtney. All right, that wraps it up for tonight. I want to thank Bob and Courtney for coming in here. And guys, if you're not subscribed to either Bob, let me get rid of that, at Bob942 or Courtney at Wide Family Farm, subscribe to them, check them out. And also don't forget my 1,000 subscriber giveaway is going on right now. Garden State Gardener's in first place with 8 people that have come over from his channel. And we will see you tomorrow, hopefully, 2 o'clock Eastern time on Hedgehog Homestead, where Laura's going to worm some secret information out of me.
Really?
Yeah.
Anything that gets you incarcerated?
No, but it might get the staff sergeant mad at me.
Oh, okay. About that one time when you were stuck in Port of Call or Rangoon or something like that? Or
I was never overseas.
Oh, well.
All right, folks. Thank you for coming by, and we will see you hopefully tomorrow on Hedgehog Homestead at 2:00. See you later.
All right. Later, everybody.